welcome back to my space. Nah, alright, I don't like that. As you can see, we're gonna be working out the introductions, but that was not it. Anyway, welcome to my channel. I'm so happy that you are back. If this is your first time here, welcome. It's so happy. It's so good to have you here. Yeah. So yeah, back to what I was saying. All right, so this video, as promised, is gonna be about the J-1 visa, work and travel. What is it? Who is it for? Like, is it right for me? And like, how do you become a J-1 student? So those basic questions, are gonna be answering them in this video. As usual, if you have other questions, feel free to hit me up in the comment section and I will get back to you with an answer as soon as I get that message. All right, so what is work and travel? So the US government has a program that is called the Work and Travel Program, and what it does is that it allows for foreign students to come into the country and work for a set period of time. It's usually like from 3 to 5 months, depending on your university schedule and depending on the program that is available to you in your home country, right? So it allows, as I said before, it allows students to travel and work for a couple months. So you are basically immersed. Yeah, you're basically like introduced to the US culture for that time. You experience what it's like working there, you live there. It's almost like you become a citizen for a short period of time. Don't quote me on that, because that's not what it is. You do not become a citizen by doing the J-1 program, but you live in the state and you work in the state for a set period of time, as specified by your contract. And this contract is usually determined based on what is happening in the season and based on what is happening at your university. So if your school is going to start back in September, you're not getting a contract. We're going to extend past September. Like that not happen. That not happen. The program will not impede your studies. So yeah, so who is this program for? So the J-1 program is for college or university students. You cannot do the program if you're not enrolled full-time in college or university. I mean, we're Jamaicans and we know what that means, but I wouldn't advise you to try doing no bootleg, rig up, nothing. Not do that. This is not the space to encourage those things, right? You need to have a mastery, or you need to be proficient in English. I mean, for Jamaica, that's easy. I mean, I want to say it's easy because English is our first language. So you need to have, sorry about my puppies, them like to make noise. Yeah. But yeah, you need to be proficient in the English language. As I said before, you need to be enrolled in college or university, and you need to be able to commit to working for the duration of your contract. So nobody going to the people in country and feel like you're gonna vant and you're gonna jump on plane and state up on all of them nice things that are not the work. 1, you're not gonna have no money. 2, you're not gonna have no money. And 3, if your contract get cancelled, you come back to your yard. And you come back to your yard and you're not gonna have no money. And as Jamaicans, most times we do work and travel because we need the money. As university students and as college students, we want to have that financial freedom. We want to be able to can do what we want to do. You know, yeah, you probably want, we're Jamaicans, we're black people, we like to take care of people them. Don't watch the complexion. My brown, but my black, yeah. Yeah? Alright, yeah. So saying all of that to say, don't waste the opportunity. If you get the opportunity, go there, do what you need to do, have a little fun, come back to your yard and get what you need to get done. Right, so with that said, let's look at some pros and some cons. Some pros and some cons. Let's look at some pros and some cons about the J-1 program. All right, so we're gonna look at the pros list first. All right, so I have my little notebook here. because I get sidetracked sometimes. I lose my train of thought really easily, and I don't want this video to be random or confusing or anything like that. So I have my little notebook. All right, so a pro is that you will be working and earning money. Not only that, but you'll be working and earning money in a foreign currency. Now we see the slide and the decline that the Jamaican dollar is on, and we see the rise in the US dollar. And so this is very beneficial for students who your school fee are some enough hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yeah. So it's a good way to make money, not only for tuition, but maybe you live with your parents, or maybe you have siblings and you want to help them out, or whatever it is that your heart desire. Maybe you just want to buy one name brand shoes or whatever. You're gonna make your money, and that is usually why Jamaicans do the program. Next thing is that, so I talk about money and financial freedom. If you are like me, because a part of why I did work and travel was because I am very passionate about culture. Like, me want to know. I mean, I just want to know. Me want to experience it. And I was very curious about what America was like, what the culture was like. You know, you have people that travel and you interact with people all the time, and you watch these TV shows. And I wanted to see what America was like. I wanted to see the Statue of Liberty. I wanted to go to New York and eat a pretzel. As ridiculous as it sounds, I wanted to go to Niagara Falls, and I wanted to see DC, and I wanted to go to Vegas and do all of these things. I wanted to go to Hawaii and all of these things. And no, I have not done all of these things, but I will. I've done some of them, and some of them it was made possible because of work and travel. So cultural immersion and cultural exposure, that is a pro for me, and I think it might be a pro for some of you as well. Next thing is that you get to meet people. Yay! I know I'm not excited because that was not something that I had processed. But when you do work and travel, you end up having to live with people, and I'm going to talk about those things in another video. Like, I'm going to be sharing my experience the first time and the second time I went on work and travel. But not in this video. This video is just like a what is it? FAQ? That. Or an overview? Something like that. Anyway. Yeah, so you get to meet people, you get to live with people, you get to see people all the time, people that you know, people that you don't know, people that you wish you never did know, people that you're happy that you did know. You get to make new relationships. So I have friends now that are from Colombia and Dominican Republic and Ecuador, and I have friends that are from Turkey, and did I say Colombia? All of these things, and they were made possible because of work and travel. Of course, I have people that are friends from the States. I have a lot of friends that are in the States, and I made these friends on work and travel because you spend so much time with people and you interact with people, and people interact with you. These are the people that you work with, you live with, you go out and hang out with, and yeah, so you build bonds when you go on work and travel. And that for me was a pro. If you're introverted, I don't know if work and travel is for you. I don't know if you can go manage, but I always tell people to do the things. Like, if you want to fly, be like Icarus. Put those wings on. Just don't fly too close to the sun, because I don't want anyone to get burned. Next thing is that you get work exposure. So my resume look nice because I have international places on my resume, and you actually get to do, if you've never had work if you've never worked before, you'll get that experience. It will be at a different pace than what we're used to here in Jamaica, because especially for like season peaks in America, the workload is ton up, and as black people we press on because we know why we go there. And that's another thing, you need to be sure of your mindset when you're going to work and travel. Nobody gets swept up in the crowd, nobody gets swept up in what other people are doing, because that is a con. As we're jumping over to the cons list, You can get so swept up in what is happening if you don't have your mindset sorted out, and if you're not mentally and emotionally at a place to do work and travel. I would not advise you to do it. A pro is that can be developed. You can grow mentally and emotionally. You will grow when it comes down to managing your finances, because guess what, when you live in a country by yourself, is you one. And even if you go with your friend them, it not mean nothing, because at the end of the day, you will have to own what you do. You will have to own what you earn. You will have to own what you spend. Because your friend not go work or hours them or fame hours them and give you them money out of them pocket. And so I found that was a pro for me. But I know people that it's a con for them, that it forced me to grow in terms of financially, mentally, all of them little something there. You have to work it out. So we're gonna, as I said before, we're going to the cons list. So the first con that I have is that you end up being away. I live in a space that next door, my aunt live next door, my cousin live next door, like whole heap of family live around me. And I remember the first time I did work and travel, I was stressed out. You can imagine me gone a one country how much miles away from home. I don't have no friend, no family, nobody when me know I live in the state where me go. And that is sometimes very stressful for people. You go and you gone to this far place and you don't have any friends and you don't have any family. Worse, if you decide to go to work and travel by yourself, don't do it. Don't do it. Go with somebody. Find a friend, a one friend. Pray to Jesus. Ask him for your one friend. Find your one friend and do work and travel with your one friend. Next thing is that, so you make a lot of money, yes, but work and travel is expensive. It's not cheap. It's not cheap. It's expensive. Mucho. Is it mucho? A lot of dinero. A lot of dinero, especially in Jamaica, where the US is going up and our dollar is declining. It means that the program becomes more expensive because the program cost is quoted in US dollars. So, and there are financial institutions out there and financial agencies out there that are able to lend you money for work and travel. I'm not talking about the bank, and I'm not talking about them loan shark place that will ask you to start pay back same time. Don't worry, I'm gonna have a video about that too. But there are agencies out there that are set up to help J-1 students. Yeah, that. But it is expensive, and adjacent to it being expensive is the fact that if you don't work enough hours, because sometimes what they tell you is not what you get. Meaning you get promised 40 hours a week and you don't get 40 hours a week, and so you work out your budget from Jamaica, and when you go overseas, the reality is not what the expectation was. And so if you spend too much or you borrow too much money and don't have no way to pay it back, you're gonna end up in debt. Yeah, so I'm gonna help you to not do that in another video when we're going to be talking about budgeting and all of them something there. But moving on to the next point. The next point is that there's a lot of information out there about work and travel, and there's also not a lot of information out there about work and travel. And so you hear a lot of things and you get a lot of things, and it's very hard to pick out what is factual versus what is not factual, and what is applicable to you versus what is not applicable to you. And sometimes it becomes very daunting and very confusing. I know people who are confused by information that them find. But yeah, that is a con. Culture shock. Jamaica is not foreign, and foreign is not Jamaica. US people do things very differently, and it is annoying. My complexion, for one, was something that I struggled with when I went overseas. In Jamaica, when people see me, them say brownie, white girl, light skin, Indian, Chinese. Me want a name I have when I'm there Jamaica. And when I'm overseas, I'm black. I'm a light-skinned black girl. And it was very hard for me. I mean, I'm biracial. I'm not biracial. There's a word. I'm multiracial. That's not the word either. Them have one word. Me did learn it, but me can't remember it now. Anyway, me mix up. As any Jamaican can tell you, them mix up. We are out of many one people, and I am no different. I have a grandfather who is German. I have a grandfather who is Irish. I have an Indian grandmother. I have a maroon grandmother. And out of that, I am the byproduct of all of those things combined. My mom had 2 light-skinned kids, 2 dark-skinned kids. And it is what it is. I know that I'm a little bit more Americanized than my friends because of the things that I eat and the things that I like and all of that. But that is just down to, for me, it's nature versus nurture. But when I went overseas, I had to adapt, even though I think of myself as Americanized when I'm here. When I go overseas, I realize, no, them have a whole other system where you have to go learn and all of them something there. Their norms, their values, their morals, things that we might have a problem with or don't have a problem with. It's something that you really just have to experience, and I don't know if anybody can really prepare you for the shock that you're gonna go through. But yeah, that was a very big con for me, because it takes time for you to process that and apply it to yourself. Next thing is that if you're doing self-placement, so I have a friend that did self-placement, and I was talking to her when I was gathering information for this video, and she was telling me that she had communication issues, and that was her biggest con, because when you're doing self-placement, you have to be the person who is reaching out to the person overseas or your sponsor overseas to get the information to give to your agency out here. Because even when you are doing self-placement, and I'll talk about that, I keep on telling us to talk about it in our next video, and I'm so sorry. I don't feel like we're not getting information though. I'm sorry. Yeah, but if you decide to do self-placement as a J-1 student, you are responsible for communicating with your sponsor, but you still have to do it through an agency here in Jamaica. And if you don't use it, let me just tell you, if you don't use self-placement, the other thing is full service, where they place you. A benefit of doing self-placement though is that you get to decide where you go and where you want and what you want to do. You get the freedom to choose, the freedom of choice in self-placement, because you decide what conditions you want to work on and those things. Again, and I can't stress it enough. Enough people complain about this. This is the biggest complaint that you will ever get about work and travel. Expectation is not always reality. Expectation is not always reality, and it's annoying. It's what's my friend would I say? My other friend we're like she always say it just stresses her out, because you understand, but at the same time you're frustrated because you spend this whole heap of money. If the season is not high, if they're having a bad season, then you're gonna have a bad season, and that's just the reality of it. And that might not be an expectation when you're leaving Jamaica. So those are things to consider. Yeah, it's so funny because my next point is expectation versus reality, and that is exactly what it is. So you get promised something in your contract here in Jamaica, and when you go overseas, that's not the reality. My first time doing work and travel, I did not make any money. I came back to Jamaica with probably like $350 in my pocket, and I still owed money because I took out a loan to go and work and travel, and I still never pay off all of my loan, and I didn't make any money to pay my school fee, and it was just stress. I was so stressed out and everything. But I learned from that experience, because I always tell people that you don't fail, you learn. And so I learned from that experience, and my next time I went on work and travel, I was like, oh, I'm back here in this place that I know, and I know what to do, and I know the moves to make, and I know how to budget, and I know how to do things. But the expectation that I had when I went the first time in 2019 was that me's a budget girl, you know. I have my little notebook and I work out everything. Work out everything in terms of how much hours me I gonna do, how much money me I gonna make, how much me I gonna spend on food, how much me I gonna send come to Jamaica to save, because that's how I save when I'm overseas. I send money to Jamaica to my sister who banks it for me and whatever. But you don't have to do that. If you stay, I have to be honest with myself, you know. If you know something, you're not gonna spend half of the money, you can keep it. But me not do that because me know myself. Me, I like shiny things. I like new things. I like shoes. I like clothes. And I love food. I love food. So me could keep my money. But I didn't get the hours that I wanted. I didn't get the hours that I was promised, and I had some issues with some documentations overseas with my spelling of my name or whatever. So I never did get my social security card till like way down in the year. And then when I finally got my social, like half of the time it basically gone, and I couldn't get one second job without my social. And it was just frustrating. And then where I did live was just everything was just not working out for my good, and that was just not what I expected. But the reality, so when you're working overseas, you have to learn to pivot, and I was not in a position to pivot. Me never have no mindset. Me just depressed, and those are things that you have to deal with, sadly. Next thing is that a lot of people feel like them going to go on work and travel, and work and travel is gonna be a bed of roses. It's not. It's work. You see how Jamaica have weekend and people get days off on weekend? That don't exist at foreign. Saturday and Sunday is a regular day. Saturday and Sunday is a regular day, especially for the jobs that you're going to go overseas to do. The jobs that are available to the J-1 students mean they're going to work from Sunday to Sunday. Not saying that you're not going to get your 2 days. You're entitled to your 2 days, but you're a Jamaican, you're going to probably want to work those days too, especially if you see where you can make your overtime and make your money. So just know that you're giving up your summer of freedom to go overseas and work. You're going to probably come back home very, very tired. You leave right when exam done, you rush out of school, and you rush right back into it. That is what the J-1 program is. Not saying that you can't have fun, not saying that you're not going to find time to take a breather or whatever, but it's not going to be an extended vacation in the States. That's not what it is. And if that is your mindset, you probably need to check yourself. I don't think the program is for you if that is the mindset that you have. And another thing is the weather. And it might not be a pro and it might not be a con. It might be a pro for you, it might be a con for you. Some states are cold. When I say they're cold, I mean it snows. I mean below zero. I mean we're Caribbean people and we live in the tropics, and you're gonna freeze your tail feathers off. Yeah, that's what it is. So if you know that you're not like the cold, think about the state where you pick when you sign up for the J-1 program. Find out when they're... Listen, you see when you're doing this program, it's a lot of research, you know. It's not a bedrock and pillar jam kind of vibe. It's not a walk in the park. I'm not afraid to ask people questions. I'm not afraid to ask your agency questions. That's what they're for. They're to bridge the gap between you and your sponsor, you and your job. Find out where you go. And you see, after you find out from them, do your research. Like Google is there, YouTube is there, Pinterest is a thing. Like, do your research. Google have a thing named Google Maps and you can use Street View. Yeah, I do that the second time I went on work and travel because I wanted to make sure that where I was gonna work, I would be able to find a second job on that same stretch, because I go pay no taxi fare, no Uber fare, or have a ride in a bicycle go far to go one second job. These are things that we will talk about in a video to come. Alright, so how do you become a J-1 student? It's very easy, it's very simple. It is. Alright, so remember, First thing is that you need to make sure that you are enrolled in a university or college full time. You can't do J-1 if you're a part-time student, sadly. Next thing is that you need to remember that you need to be proficient in the English language. Some of the roles that are offered require you, all of them know that I'm thinking about it. Like, you have to go talk to people though, and Americans speak English. American English, but English nonetheless. Next thing is that you need to sign up with a legitimate agency. When I say legitimate agency, as I said before, you can check the link in my description for a listing of agencies that are legitimate in Jamaica. Nobody gonna get yourself scammed with none of them or come up business there where you always say I jump up on your Instagram feeds and them something there anytime you come on to work and travel season. So you need to sign up with a legit agency that will help you through the process. And it's not a lengthy process, but it requires a lot of reading and signing away of your life for the couple of months. So you're gonna pay your registration fee, and then I'm gonna ask you to do you're gonna pay your program fees and your CVs and then your visas and all of them payments something there you would end up have to do after. But that is a part of the process. And if needs be, you need to seek financial aid from early, because you have to go show the people them so you can pay them program fee money. Because if you pay your registration fee for your agency, it's usually non-refundable. So if you can't come up with your program fee, you normally get kicked out of it and you're gonna get that back. So make sure so you have the thing line up to get the program fee sorted out already. Yeah, and that's about it. Your agency will help you through getting your visa date and all of that. And if you need information on that, I'll be happy to do a video for you. Don't forget to, again, like, share, subscribe to this channel. Hit that bell for the next update. And our next update will be on Wednesday, next Wednesday at 6 p.m. And if you have any questions, I can't stress it enough, I'll be happy to answer you. Drop them down in that comment section. It's your girl Shanna, and all I want you to do is fly high.